Ah, Riker's beard. This is terrifying. Yikes. I gotta hear more. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host and beast of the belt, Ken Levine. I'm a singer and vocal coach here on YouTube, and today we are looking at Doom Eternal, the heavy metal choir. But before we do that, I'd just like to remind you all to please remember to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the great stuff that we produce here every week on the channel. And hey, if you're new, write I subscribe down below in the comments, and I will do my very best to respond to as many people as I possibly can. Now, Doom Eternal, the video game. This was a suggestion from Mr. Lone ID, or Mr. Loned. Lone ID, I think is what it is. It says, please do Kar En Tuk from Doom Eternal soundtrack. It's done by a choir of metal singers. Actually, no, Kar En Tuk. Tuk? Maybe that's how it's pronounced. Kar En Tuk. No. Kar En Tuk. Kar En Tuk. Sounds like a Kate Gosselin reality TV show. Okay, here we go. Mick Gordan is the composer of this. Okay, Mr. Lone ID. Let's see what this is.
My name's Mick Gordan. I am here in beautiful Austin, Texas, to record a heavy metal choir for Doom Eternal. 1, 2, check. It's a continuation of Doom 16, but this really needs its own unique approach.
We'd already discussed some chants that harkens back to the Slayer's origins. The idea of taking a heavy metal choir and having them do the chant for the Slayer was amazing.
The big question is, right, how do you put together a heavy metal choir?
Okay, so, obviously, this is like the behind the scenes. Get the behind the scenes look at. I should have read the description. Composer Mick Gordan assembled heavy metal vocalist to get. Okay, all right. So, this is not the actual soundtrack, but let's just watch it anyway, and maybe we can cue up the soundtrack after that. Mick Gordan. I did a little research, like 60 seconds worth. He's obviously the film. Or the composer for the soundtrack for the video game. I think he's also a classical composer, so a lot of sort of different styles there. Are these all the heavy metal vocalists? Some of them don't look like they might be heavy metal vocalists, singers.
And the best way that we figured out how to do it would be to put out an open call and invite heavy metal singers to apply to join this awesome ensemble of badasses.
I'm the vocalist of The Anchor.
I'm the frontman for 2 different bands.
I'm in a band called The World I Knew, trap metal.
I'm the vocalist for Wild Speaker.
I play in a death metal band called Aborted.
I play bass for Static X, Ministry.
This is like a really...
Wait a second, he's the bass player. How did he get in there? I guess he also sings. Okay, all right.
classical franchise, especially within the rock and metal community. Like, everybody just looks up to this game.
Part of the game is this like ancient chant that's in this other language. We want the whole game to feel like a heavy metal album experience. Every time I get a drop, I hit play and I'm like, oh, this is freaking amazing.
The group that we ended up putting together is really diverse. There's so many different types of metal singers there.
To see the choir be half female, half male, it's been really awesome.
He's working with 20 other people, not just one person.
It's a very different way of recording.
To hear all those guttural voices all around you, it's really fucking cool.
Wait a second. This guy, is this the craft service? Is he drinking a beer? What's he drinking here? Hang on.
Guttural voices.
Could be a soda. I don't know. I'd like to think that he's drinking a beer.
All around you, it's really
Gotta get my voice in shape.
With all the anger and energy, it feels right.
I think as humans, we always relate to voice. So it sort of touches.
Wait a second. Look, hang on a second. I want to point out a couple of things here. One is, check out these vocalists. They all have coffee and water. They're keeping really hydrated and well caffeinated. You need to be on your toes. Speaking of toes, I saw this. Mick Gordan looks like he's wearing glitter shoes. Is that true? I don't know.
Deeper level.
I don't think I'd have the kind of confidence to pull off glitter shoes in a room full of heavy metal singers.
There's just different styles, and it's cool to see all of it just come together and make this like really unique, amazing sound.
So there's a guy that does Mongolian metal, and I was just impressed at what he can do.
Everything works together.
Cool.
Sound effects, music, gameplay, and all these things
Mongolian
come together
metal.
Not as separate elements,
Mongolian
but
throat
as one
singing.
cohesive unit.
I've always wondered what that would be like to hear a choir singing that way.
We're gonna do our own thing.
Actually, this reminds me of, I'm sure maybe one of you intelligent people out there knows of this choir in Finland. I think it's Finland, and they're all male shouting chorus choir. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Am I crazy? I remember seeing something in a documentary about the human voice, and they pulled up this choir in Finland that's just there's just a choir of guys who shout. It had some appeal. It looked like it could be cool. Anyway.
We're gonna do it like nobody else is doing it.
I had to be part of this, man. You kidding me? I grew up with Doom, and I got to play a little bit on the Atari Jaguar. I bought every edition, one of my favorite games of all time, and I love the soundtrack.
To be able to contribute to something that might get people into metal.
To me, it's a big honor.
I'm so excited to hear the end product.
Being part of the Doom soundtrack feels pretty legendary.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. That would be legendary for sure. I think it's kind of cool to sort of say, yeah, I had a little part in that. Has anyone thought to get a bunch of metal singers together and say, let's form a choir? That would be kind of cool.
They're just as much.
Well, I'm speaking before I've actually heard the final product. I'm just getting excited for what this sounds like. It looks like it could be really tremendous. Or
much a part of the process as any of us.
Thank you so much.
They're the ones that have kept Doom going for 25 years.
Okay, so that was just a big commercial for the video game. I want to hear what it sounds like. It didn't even. Hang on. Okay, and we're back. It took a little bit of sleuthing, but I found someone who posted, it looks like, the soundtrack of just the Kar En Tuk portion of Doom Eternal. So let's have a listen. Doom Eternal by Mick Glitter Shoes Gordan. That fills me with so much joy. Okay, never mind. Shh. Let's do this. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so it's coming in through one of my headphones right now. I mean, directly from the right side. Yeah, it's kind of already starting to get the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end. Okay, that sounded like English. So Kar En Tuk is obviously some kind of, I don't know, demon incantation or something. But then it's like, let's fight to the death. I think in English, they're shouting. This part sounds like the beginning of 2001 Space Odyssey. Okay, so that tone cluster and a slowly ascending tone cluster in both male and female voices, that's like a classical composer technique. We've heard that before, and I think Mick Gordan is kind of borrowing heavily from some of the great choral composers from the past to create that effect. I mean, it's still really, really cool, and I don't want to take away any thunder from Mick Gordan. But I've been in chamber vocal ensembles where you have 30 or 40 voices doing something similar. You're not entirely sure where you are tonally. It's amazing to hear live, and it's even cooler to be in the center of that sound of tones and be participating. It's very cool. Really getting high now. Okay, so that's what hell sounds like. Oh, whoa. We're halfway through already? Did time just... Wow. So this is like a 5.5 minute track, and that felt like 30 seconds, and we're already halfway through. That sustained level of shouting and screaming could only be carried out by trained heavy metal singers. Obviously, what we're hearing is just a glimpse of what that whole day of recording must have sounded like, and to be able to sustain that throughout the entire recording session would have. You need to have some serious stamina built into your technique. I can't do that. I'm just saying, I've not built up that level of stamina for that kind of production of noise, and that's bone chilling, that sound, and so clearly not fake. Software engineers and sampling engineers were coming up with really elaborate and incredible sample packs for choirs. So you could actually get a full choir singing in Latin and do like 100 voice choir as sort of your backing track. And I messed around with that a little bit, and this is like a dozen years ago, and it sounded pretty decent. But it did sound, there were a few artifacts that sort of gave it away as not being real people, like legitimate inhalations of breath, which you can hear clearly in this track. I don't think you can fake that. Like maybe one of you guys who does, sequencing and programming for maybe an audio engineer, and I know that there might be a few of you out there listening, maybe there is a sample pack of sounds that emulates this, but I would think, why not just get the real thing, Tooth and throat singer. That's so cool. Okay, so there's just a cascade of different extended vocal techniques that are going into making the cluster of sounds that you're hearing. You know, honestly, I don't know all of the names of the techniques of this extended vocal technique that these guys and gals are using here. Maybe one of you intelligent folks who's watching could maybe actually offer up a list of some of the extended vocal techniques, because I honestly, I can't decipher them all, and I won't even try, because some of them might be unique to the characters, to the people, the musicians who were in the room when they were doing this. Riker's beard, this is terrifying. Yikes. I gotta hear more. Okay. All right. Yeah. There you go. Mick Gordan's Kar En Tuk with a choir of heavy metal vocalists. What do you need me to add to that? Other than that, it was a terrifying glimpse into what a potential hellscape would sound like. Really, really frightening. Do any of you know if any inspired musicians have said, dude, we need to get an entire choir of heavy metal vocalists on a stage and just do that for an hour? I would be interested to know, Mick Gordan, if he's the first to, put these together and do this, then he's a genius, and we need more of this. This is what I think would be really cool to hear. But what I'd like to hear is your thoughts. Leave them down below. You can let me know what you think of this use of heavy metal vocalists in a choir, a choral version of heavy metal singing. What do you think? It's cool? Is it terrifying? Is it meh? I thought it was pretty cool, and I would love to actually see something like this in action. Okay, so I usually end off each of my videos with a little call to action to say, just remind you all to please remember to hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and leave your thoughts down below in the comments section. I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you think of this? And as always, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time.